Hello everyone, this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me today. It has been quite some time since I did my last video, and I think my last video on the G64 wasn't very well done. I think it's because I'm still not very familiar with the settings on my camera, as well as the processing, the video processing software side. So I'm going to go back to use my handphone as my main camera, and then I'll use my handphone again, the app inside my handphone to actually process the video like last time, so that my voice will be not be out of sync with the video that's following. So today I'm just going to do a simple workflow on the G64, right? And because the last time we did it, it wasn't very well done, and I'm not satisfied with the video. And then today we're gonna probably pull 1 or 2 shots and then make a cup of latte. And then we'll do 1 espresso first, then we'll make a cup of latte to see, or maybe we don't do latte today. We just pull 2 shots of espresso, 1 from the G64, 1 from the DF64, and 1 from the Chinese EK43s, right? Why not we do it this way? We pull 3 shots and we compare the shot quality to see which one is the better one, right? But before that, let me introduce the burrs that's inside each of these grinder to you. Right, so in front of you, there are 3 different grinders, right? Of course, this is the G64 single dose anodized body. This is the matte black color version. The finishing is really very well done, right? Of course, the start and stop button is at the side. You can hear the gentle humming if I start the grinder. Right, that's a sound it makes when I switch on the grinder. Right, let me show you the sound generated by the DF64. Much more powerful motor, hence therefore the sound is slightly louder, and then the vibration tends to be a little bit, there'll be more vibration. Right, so this is from the DF64. And of course, this is the Chinese version of the EK43s. Let me switch on and show you the sound of the grinder. Right, and I have all of them dialed in at the espresso setting, which we're going to pull 3 shots, and I'll be using the same coffee bean, which is our my Yunnan red wine series, because I'm the most familiar with the taste of the Yunnan, and I can tell whether the taste is actually good or bad, right? So before we start, the burr inside the G64 is the titanium coated ETA mill. So basically this is still the ETA mill, right? This is the SSP cast burr, right? So definitely the taste will be more full body and more texture and a heightened sweetness, right? And this is the stock burr, 90mm, right? I believe is the steel version, right? The cutting, the design on the burr is similar to the SSP MP, which you can find on DF64. It is similar but not the same. But of course, the grinding speed is totally different between these 3, and you'll be able to see in a short while how fast it grinds between these 3 grinders, right? But most important is the taste, right? So let's start. Let's do it one by one, and then let's start with the G64. Right, so before that, we have to measure, let's do 17 grams of coffee beans, and then we'll pull a shots with each of these grinders on the VBM Domobar Super, right? So this is actually the my modified design of the dosing cup adapter. I know someone has already modded this for me, but this is my current design now. So now it's a lot easier to use. Basically, this one stays on, right? You do not have to take it out, and then your dosing cup, right, will just stay on here, so you don't have to take it down, right? And of course, the G64 comes with the anodized aluminum dosing cup, which is pretty heavy, right? So later on, you will see how the coffee grind and the sound of the coffee grinding. Right, so let's measure 17 grams. And of course, at the same time, we also want to see the retention, right, that each of the grinder has without bellowing, right? So I'm not going to bellow my DF64, right? Because recently I've discovered that bellowing actually ruined the extraction, right? So recently I do not bellow my grinder ever again, right? Of course, I bellow if I want to purge the coffee. So you can see now it's 17 grams, right? So now let's focus on the G64. Right, it's a bit dark. Let me get the lighting over so that it's easier for you to see. Right, okay, so let's dose the coffee. And now, of course, we have to zero out our dosing cup. Okay, let's switch on the grinder. Okay, let's wait for a short while, right, for the grinder to be completely silent without any more beans grinding. Right, let's measure. Right, just now we measured 17 gram, right, so the retention is about 0.2 gram without any bellowing. So this is the retention that's with the G64, right, which is pretty good for grinder, single dose grinder that doesn't need any bellowing, right. Of course, the grinding, because this is a brushless motor, so the grinder will be trying its best to grind the beans when the beans drop in, so you can see the sudden change of the sound of the motor when the beans is touching the burrs, right. So that's perfectly normal, right. Okay, let's get ready for the second shot on the DF64. Right, so again, I'm going to dose 17 grams of coffee. So let's leave the coffee there. And the current version of the DF, right, I have fitted with the version 4 of the declumper. I have made sure that I've installed the declumper in the right way, right, so that it will still bellow out fine, right. So let me show you the amount of coffee that we have dosed. Right, so you can see now here is actually 16.9 gram. Not too sure whether you can pick it up. Okay, let me tilt the grinder slightly. Okay, you can't do that. Right, there you go. 16.9 grams of coffee. Right, so now let's dose inside the DF64. Right, put this here, and then we just turn on the grinder. Right, as you can see, it takes much longer for DF64 to grind the coffee as compared to the G64. Right, so now let's measure the coffee and see how many grams actually has been grinded. Right, you can see 16 grams only. So there's about 0.9 grams of retention, right? And that is the version 4 of the declumper, which is not really ideal. So I will still be using the version 4 for a slightly longer time, and I will open up the declumper to see the situation of the clogging behind it, right? So I have no choice but actually to bellow, right? Let's see whether if we bellow we can get most of the coffee out. Right, the bellowing as compared to the silicone declumper has been improved tremendously. You do not have the sudden purge, sudden burst of the coffee ground that are coming out. Right, okay, let me show you. Right, with bellowing, right, it can be 16.8, which means there's a 0.1 grams of retention. So it definitely can bellow out most of the coffee, right, and the retention is about 0.1 gram with the version 4 of the declumper. Right, so let's move this aside here. And then finally our Chinese EK43. Right, so again we will dose about 17 gram. Right, so let me show you the weighing. Right, 17.1, 17.0. Right, and we're going to grind on the EK. Right, of course, this is not the actual EK from Mechanic. This is actually the EK from Perfects, which is manufactured in China. Right, and I'm going to use the same dosing cup. Hook it up there, and then we're going to grind, right? It's done. So that's the power of the 90mm. Right, to show you. 17 gram exactly. Right, just now we dosed about 17.1. Right, so you can see, yep, it's 17 grams. So retention is only about 0.1 gram, which is almost perfect for if you want a really zero retention grinder without any bellows system. Right, this is the one to go, right? Okay, so now we're going to pull 3 shots consistently, and then we'll see, then we'll try the shot quality, and then we'll wrap up the video, which we'll try to keep this video short and sweet. And then let's pull the 3 shots. So let's prepare the shot in terms of the preparation. So the first one, right, from the G64. Right, to show you the quality of the grind. Right, same thing, we'll just do a simple WTT. 1, 2, 3. 3 spin, knock it down. Distribute. Right, we're going to use our auto temper. Right, and we're going to use park screen for all our shots. Right, so let's pull the first shots. So currently we are just going to use the full 9 bar shots. We're not going to do any pressure profiling. Straight 9 bar. Before that, let me put on the weighing scale. Alright, so let's start the shot. Right, 9 bar. Okay, we may have grinded a little bit too fine. Okay, this is definitely over extracted, but nonetheless, we're just going to leave it there, and we're going to try the shot later, right? So let's move on to the preparation of the second one. Right, so to prepare the second shot, right, it's really clean. Right, let's use our WTT. 1, 2, 3, knock down, distribute, temp, back screen. Okay, let's use this one. Right, same thing. Let's zero out the weighing scale first. Nine bar shot again. I'm definitely more familiar with the DF64 in terms of grind setting. Right, the shot is definitely more well extracted. right? Slightly flowing too fast. So on the G64, right, it is grinding too fine. On the DF64, it's a bit grinding a little bit too coarse, right? But I will do a second episode to dial in the coffee right before I make the video, right? So sorry for today's simple extraction, right? But I'm still going to taste the coffee anyway, right? So let's move on to prepare. Right, so shot is really good, clean. One, two, three. Knock it down. Right, let's tap it to the park screen. Okay, let's pull the third shot. Right, about 40 grams of coffee in about 25 seconds of time. Right, so we have pulled 3 shots and then we're going to taste the 3 shots and see how it goes. Right, so let's now taste the 3 shots of coffee. First one, right, is from the G64, slightly over extracted. So the coffee, okay, I cannot say that the G64 is not a good grinder, but just that my grind setting is not dialed in. Right, so let's try this. Oh, bitter, slightly on the bitter side. The texture and body is still good, just that it's bitter, right? Instead of the sweetness I am expecting from this cup, it's swinging to the bitter side, right? So this is definitely over extracted, right? Not the best cup, right? But let's not blame the grinder, right? Blame myself for not dialing the coffee, right? So let's taste the one from the DF64 with SSP Casper. Cheers. Wow. I just simply like the Casper, right? Pure sweetness, slight acidity. I think it's because of the slightly coarser ground. If I grind this slightly finer, I believe I can avoid the acidity and do a full extraction so that it will be full sweetness and very little acidity. So I can still taste a little bit of acidity in this cup, but it is much better than the first one, right? Again, let's don't blame the grinder, right? Let's blame myself for not dialing in the beans before I took this video, right? So the last one is from the Chinese EK43s, not the Marconic. It's from Perfect, right? Cheers. Wow. Wow, this is the best shot so far. Sweet, totally no acidity at all, no bitterness. Yeah. And with the stopper, the taste of the coffee is really tasting really good. In fact, I would say that it's on par with the SSP Casper that is installed on the DF64, right? Remember, this is the 98mm standard burr on the so-called EK43s from China Perfects, right? So this is really promising, right? And I really like this grinder, even though it's huge, right? But with the S version, which means the shorter version, right? It actually looks not too bad. Maybe I'll show you again. So I want you to admire, like me, admiring the grinders, right? With the hopper, it looks really huge, but with the body, right? It is not as big as it looks like. Of course, it's still huge if you do not have a big counter space, right? This is definitely probably out for you, right? And you have you're down with grinders of this size. And just to show you, right, the G64 is a really handsome, really grinder that's really well finished, well made. Let me move my pin seller away. I can see that the finishing on this grinder is flawless. Look at the line, right? Let me bring closer. You can see the finishing on this grinder. The anodization of the grinder is really, really well done, right? It's really superb finished, right? Everything on this grinder is really, and look at the dial adjustment, right? Perfect. It's really nice. Right, so this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me today. Right, I'll try to process the video and launch this video tomorrow if I can. Right, and I hope I'm sharing this experience with me doing coffee on this grinder with you, so that it gets you. I try to share this my user experience with all these grinders, so that if you are going to buy one of these, right, it can sort of offer some advice or some reference point for you to look upon before you decide anything, right? So once again, right, G64, DF64, and the Chinese EK. We'll be having all these grinders available. We'll make all these grinders available for sales in Singapore. So if you are interested in, please contact me. Right, I'm CY. Right, I'll link my contact number in the comment section down, or the description down below, so that if you want to reach me, you can. And of course, we do have other grinders available, right, such as the K90, right, and of course our RF64W, the weight dosing grinder, which we recently converted to a single dose, right? Just to show you, right? You can see that now it comes with a hopper. With removal of this hopper, right? Now I can make this a single dose. Right, and actually before, without this bellow, the grinders already produces almost negligible retention, right? So I'm going to show you the capability of this grinder very soon. Actually, I have already shown you how good this grinder is, but with a hopper. Now with the bellow, I'm going to show you how much we can actually bellow out as a fine that is retained in this grinder. Is there any coffee that is retained in this grinder, right? So, thank you for joining me today. This is CUI once again, right? Remember to hit the subscribe button, right? Like our videos, and remember to ring the bell, right, if you want to stay updated with all our video, right, when we release them, so that you will not miss a single one out, right? Thank you once again. I will see you very soon.